What's up, YouTube? This is a boring money strategy to fall asleep to. It's currently 2 a.m. and we are going to do some back testing of the daily inside bar breakout trading strategy. So I just hopped on and I just marked out all of my levels. Here's where we are. I'm doing this on the IWM because I don't really watch it so closely, so it'll be good to practice on. And we can see right now we are bullish on the weekly and daily moving averages, and most likely we're going to be looking for long positions here. So let's go ahead and jump into it. Here is the daily inside bar, and we're going to jump down to the smaller time frames and see what's going on. All right, now we are going to watch on the 5-minute for that breakout. And also, if you want to learn this breakout trading strategy, I will link the video in the corner up here. So it looks like we broke out overnight. Most likely we're going to have to let this trade play out without us. We're having a big breakdown back into the range here. All right, no trades on that day. And now we also have an outside bar, which is exactly the same as an inside bar. So we're going to go ahead and mark out our new zones for the following day. So these are our new zones. Let's go ahead and see what the next day brings. All right, looks like another day of no trades. And it looks like we made a secondary inside bar here, I think. Not quite, not quite. Still waiting for that breakout above or below the red lines. All right, we are just now breaking out, and a 5-minute candle close above the range does not mean anything. We're looking for it to retest. All right, we're getting a nice retest here, it looks like. We're pulling back into this range right here. We've got these fair value gaps, so I'm going to be watching on the smaller time frame now for a good entry. All right, I like this entry for a couple of reasons. We're invalidating this bearish fair value gap, and we're respecting this bullish fair value gap. We're breaking out and accepting above the key level, and this is a pretty strong candle as well. Let's go ahead and enter. And then at a 1-to-1 risk to reward, I will go ahead and move my stop loss to break even. All right, right here, we're at about a 1-to-1, moving my stop to break even. And honestly, we'll take half the position here at a 1-to-1 as well. Gonna close out another half of the position right here at the end of the day. Got a couple more candles left. All right, gonna go ahead and close out another $300 on this trade, and we're gonna leave a little bit of position behind. All right, the next day just opened, and this right here is the power of the strategy. Look at this, from where we got into this trade at down here to up here. This is a massive, massive trade, especially with options. So let's go ahead and close out a little bit more of our position. And moving the stop loss up even higher. And honestly, we're just gonna let these runners run for the next day or two. It's so high up, I can't even see where we entered this at. We're up 182. All right, and we should have been stopped out, so I'll go ahead and sell it right there. All right. That was a great trade right there. You can see from where we got in at down here. The original risk size was something like this to where we took the final profits at. So there we go, about a 6-to-1 RR right there. And we're just going to go ahead and zoom back out to the daily chart and then wait for the next valid inside bar to trade. All right, next inside bar is right here. And we're waiting for a breakout above or below the red lines. Let's go ahead and zoom back into the 5-minute. Getting a little bit of a breakout, looks like a liquidity sweep. However, we're holding this 5-minute bullish fair value gap right here still. I'll go ahead and mark it out. So for this trade, I'm most likely wanting to see a break of structure to the upside. That is just what makes the most sense for us, I think. All right, and we don't get it. And it's kind of late in the day on this particular day, so probably not going to trade this day. Looks like we break to the downside as well. So now I know that we've got an outside bar on that last candle right here. So we're going to mark out the new levels. And honestly, considering that we're bullish on both of these higher time frame moving averages, I'm not going to go short even if we break to the downside. I think this could be a fake out to the downside for continued upside, and I believe that because when we sweep this low down here, we're then pulling back into this daily time frame fair value gap, which is also a support level that we have marked out here as well. So I think this is just going to be a fake out retesting support and then really a move back to the upside potentially. So usually we play the breakdown of the inside bar, whichever way it breaks out, but you can also play it as a liquidity sweep. So let's see if we get that here. This looks to me like a like a falling wedge right here. So possibly a good sign. All right, we're getting a nice break back to the upside. Let's see if it holds. So we've broken structure to the upside here, but now I want to see these like fair value gaps in here hold, especially the like last one down here. Yeah, it does look like we're probably going to reclaim up above, but it's too late in the day on this day. Let's go ahead and go to the next one. We sort of get it, but sort of don't. We're going to look at the 30-minute chart, just kind of see where we're at. So I really want to see us accept back within the range here. All right, and it's 11:30 on this day. Let's go ahead and go out to the next day. And geez, moving straight up. Looks like that was 7 a.m. news. So I don't think we're going to be able to trade that. And so let's go ahead and go to the next inside bar, which we get the next day. All right, so we've got new inside bar levels here. It looks like that idea of us pulling back and retesting and then breaking out again was correct, but the move got away from us, which is going to happen. It's more than okay to miss a move. And I'm just going to go ahead and look at the different time frames here, kind of get familiar with what the structure looks like. And let's go ahead and see if we get a breakout today. Doesn't really look like it's going to happen. The next day, so now these 2 days are both inside bars, and we're waiting for that breakout above, which it looks like we're going to get right now. So for this, I most likely want to see us break structure to the upside for my entry. Okay, pretty good so far. We're in an uptrend potentially here now. We broke out to a new high. This could be a lower high happening now. All right, it's a little bit late in the day, but I'm gonna go ahead and take this entry anyways. I think this looks pretty good for acceptance. Outside the range, we're making higher highs here. We just closed a candle above, making a new daily high. So let's see if we're right about this. Okay, we were very close to getting stopped out, but looks like we gapped up overnight. I'm gonna go ahead and move my stop loss to break even and take partial profits on this candle. We could potentially just fill the gap right here, so I'm gonna move it a little closer to break even. All right. And we will not have runners in this trade. They just got stopped out. So let's go ahead and just look for that next inside bar. All right, we've got this new inside bar here a couple days later, and the strategy works really well when you've got lots of different stocks. Like I use all of the big tech stocks for this. So every day, two or three of them have inside bars, and you can really just pick the setup that is best for you out of those three or four. All right, we're getting that breakout. It's a couple days later now. It looks like we've got multiple inside bars here. We're finally getting that breakout to the upside, it looks like. But let's zoom in and make sure of it. All right, we come down and we did not quite break to a new high yet, but it looks like we're holding these like fair value gaps, probably on the 15, holding fair value gaps, which is a good sign. Almost breaking out here. It really wants to break out. It's very close. All right, that would be a break right there, but I really want to see some stronger momentum. Let's see if we get stronger momentum. It looks like we do. Let's go ahead and take that. It's way too late in the day for this, but we're going to enter anyways. We'll put the stop loss a little bit wide because the midday chop could sort of make this trade more difficult here. It's not looking too good. All right, we almost got stopped out, but I guess that's the power of putting your stop loss where it needs to be. All right, and that day closed and we got stopped out. I should have closed most of the position there, but I didn't realize the day was ending. So that is that trade. Let's go ahead and just look for the next inside bar that we get. All right, we immediately get a new inside bar. Let's go ahead and do this one really quick. We're getting multiple days worth of inside bars, which is awesome because the breakout is usually stronger when it's been coiling up for so many days. Looks like we are just getting that break to the upside here, potentially. All right, it looks like we don't quite want that entry. These giant candles to the downside were sort of a clue to that, it looks like. Oh, and then it looks like 11 a.m. news. Oh, this was a Wednesday, probably an FOMC right there. All right, let's go ahead and zoom back out and we'll just go ahead and look for the next inside bar. right, here we go. This is the next inside bar. And this other red line was the all-time high. So it looks like we're breaking out to all-time highs here. We're still bullish on the other time frames, clearly in an uptrend. So we're probably only gonna play with call options, probably no puts. But the strategy does stay exactly the same, whether you're doing calls or puts, it's gonna be exactly the same. So let's go ahead, check out our other time frames here, and then we will look for the next trade. Probably a no trade day on this day. Looks like we're getting a breakout to the downside, but I did zoom the chart a little bit too fast to catch this, and we're probably not going to play anything to the downside anyways. Looks like it would have been a pretty good short. All right, let's go ahead and look for the next inside bar. All right, we get it immediately. So this giant candle here will be the level, which is good because it's got a lot of room for it to compress, and then we want it to break out to the upside anyways. All right, it looks like this day is already up quite a bit. We're up 2.5%, and so your risk reward really starts to deteriorate when a stock is up that much. But let's see if we can get a good entry here anyways. Look at this, we're retesting the exact level of the inside bar here. It's a very clean strategy, I feel like. And we did invalidate this bearish for value gap, break a structure to the upside. This does look pretty good. The only concern is that we are up like 3% at this point now. All right, this trade is up. Oh, not quite a 1-to-1 yet, but we're gonna play it really safe here. We're up 130. Let's go ahead and close half. All right, good thing we took half and moved our stop losses to break even, because that was a winning trade still. So repeat the process. It's a very simple strategy, zooming back out to the daily chart and looking for that next inside bar. All right, we do get one here. I was going a little bit too fast, but these are double inside bars, which is nice. So both of these are inside bars. It's a double inside bar sort of setup, which is even better for me, honestly, because, oh wait, this day breaks above? Oh, it does. It's gray right here. All right, we will keep going. But if you have multiple inside bars, it's like a spring that's getting coiled up tighter and tighter. It'll usually produce a breakout that is more powerful when it's sat sideways for so long. All right, here we've got the next inside bar. This is honestly a great spot for this inside bar because we're right within this weekly moving average, which in an uptrend is typically where you're going to bounce at. We are on a 30-minute chart. We're going to zoom in to the 5-minute and see if we break out here. I feel like we probably won't, but that's just me. I feel like this resistance level is kind of heavy. We do technically break to the upside here, but I don't think I like it yet. I don't like that wick. All right, let's see these other time frames, see if I want to take that entry. I don't think I love this setup. All right, we're gonna enter it anyways, just for the retest. Okay, it went to the next day. Realistically, we would have closed out the majority of the position like right here. So we're gonna go ahead and close out. We'll say we closed out 75% of it. All right, and moving the stop loss up to break even. Looks like the market is ripping to the upside, and we've only got 50% or 25% of the position is left in this, but that little 25% is already up $250, which is more than the original amount that we pulled out. It was this 25% of the position is worth more than the other 75% of the position, is what I'm trying to say. All right, we're going to take a little bit more here. So this really works best when you've got option contracts that are like a week out maybe, because your options will go from being like slightly out of the money to being deeply in the money within the week. It's still like this breakout happened here on a Monday, right? And here it's only a Wednesday. So your options wouldn't be decaying and they'd be deep in the money right now, which would be insane. All right, this is Friday, so your options would be expiring here pretty soon. It looks like this Friday ends at 10, so good thing we caught that. We're gonna go ahead and close out the rest of the position here. So that was a massive trade, and let me show you the P&L so far. So far we've made $1,000 or $1,127. We've taken 12 trades, winning 11 out of 12 of them, which is insane so far. So now, as you can see, if you are understanding at this point, we are going to just simply repeat the process here. back out to the daily chart to find the next inside bar, which I can already see is right here. And we're back here on the daily time frame, but look at this. You can see the entry here, and you can see where we took profits at. So we really caught like a weekly move, which would send your option contracts up like 500 to 1,000% most likely. So this here is actually the inside bar. Let's look at our lower time frames. This move did go up pretty high, it seems like. We could be getting to a point where we want to see a bit of a pullback. And judging by how the market gaps down in here, we see a big gap down, and then it sort of fills that gap and then drops again. It definitely seems like the market wants to take a breather here. All right, we're into the next day in the middle of the range. Let's see if we even break out on this day. No breakout. Into the next day. We've got multiple inside bars here once again. And we are breaking to the upside, but again, let's see. We're already up. I guess we're only up 1%. That's not too bad. And as usual, we're just going to wait to see some acceptance outside this range. It's great that we're still moving so far out, but we really want to see the retest. Otherwise, it makes it pretty difficult to trade. All right, we're not really getting a good retest here. All right, we're going to play it safe and just wait. Okay, we're getting a bit better of a retest here. Let's see if we actually hold the level. Zoom in on the lower time frames. We do invalidate. Oh no, nope, we don't have any fair value gaps there. Maybe on the 4-minute we do. Not really. Sort of a small one here. All right, let's just see what happens with these next candles. All right, we're sort of building here. It's already 11 a.m. on this day. Not the best time. Not the best time to trade. It's 11:30 now. We're gonna end up gapping up overnight. Okay, this is good here right at the end of the day. We're gonna go ahead and enter here. We'll put the stop loss pretty close because I don't want to have such a wide stop on this. All right, it's almost the end of the day. We're gonna go ahead and move the stop loss to about break even and take partial profits. We'll take half right there. All right, and we got stopped out down here, it looks like. So that is it. I wonder if it stops us out at the bottom of the candle or when the candle closes, to be honest. Let's see. Probably when the candle opens, it looks like. So a good sized loss right there. Let's see what we get in the next candle. Huge break to the upside, but I don't think we would have really been able to play this. Let's just take a quick look. This would have been sort of a hard trade, but it looks like this day sort of accepts above, like retests the breakout line. It's crazy how accurate these lines are sometimes. We retest it perfectly, and then on a huge momentum candle like this, breaking to a new daily high after that retest, I mean, this could be a pretty good entry right there, but we're not going to include that in the backtesting data. And it looks like we could be breaking out to new all-time highs here soon. All right, this should be an inside bar, right? All right, these are equal highs right here. Do equal highs count as an inside bar? Let me know in the comments. I don't know, but it's not inside, but it's not outside. I'm gonna count it. I'm gonna count it. So let's go ahead and play this setup. See how it goes. All right, we gapped up in the morning. Fill in the gap here a little bit. Let's see if we come back for that breakout. Looks like a no trade day right there, and another inside bar, which is nice. Huge momentum candle to the upside, but we're still within the range. Just gonna wait for that breakout moment. All right, we're having that breakout right now. It's 8:15, so sort of close to the end of the trading time that I personally like to trade. We're going to wait for a break of structure right here. Typically we want to see it pull back into a fair value gap that it is already above the level, and then sort of accept that fair value gap and hold the level, or a break of structure would be good as well. And it's a good thing that we wait for this sort of acceptance. Let me show you exactly what I mean. What I'm wanting to see is something like this, where we pull back into the fair value gap, and then we're on the 5-minute chart. We want to see lower time frames start to go into an uptrend again. And once we do that, or if we break structure, then we're entering long. A 5-minute candle close above here doesn't mean anything. And one more important thing to note is that inside bars are only valid until it's no longer an inside bar. So like right here, we swept liquidity, so the spring is not coiled anymore. All right, at this point we're just looking for that breakout above, but it's no longer a coiled spring technically. All right, we went a little bit too fast here, unfortunately. Looks like this is a Wednesday at 11. So it looks like this is probably an FOMC happening right here that's breaking us out of the level. And so we're just not going to play that day. We're going to go ahead and wait for the next inside bar that we get. This is an outside bar. Could have potentially played that outside bar to the bottom, to the downside, but that would have probably, by the looks of it, would have happened late in the day. Would not have been my favorite setup, especially because we're in an uptrend. So not a bad trade to miss. Here's our new inside bar. Let's go ahead and look at these smaller time frames, sort of see what we're dealing with. Bit of a pullback here. into the daily support. No breakout yet, except we just skip to the next day and look at that, perfectly outside of the level right there. So let's see if we accept above. I don't love that we broke out before the market opened. I don't like that. All right, we're breaking to the upside, which is good, but we could be manipulating for a gap fill to the downside. However, if you've heard of the orb strategy, the 15-minute opening range breakout, this would sort of be an opening range breakout. So this trade has a bit going for it and a bit going against it. However, also when we consider the higher time frames here, like maybe the 4-hour would show it good, we've had this little pullback into support, and now we look like we're starting to just rip to the upside. So potentially a good entry here. Let's see if we are right about this. And we entered position. Hopefully you saw me do that a moment ago. We're currently up 150 on that position. And let's play it safe. Let's move the stop to break even. We're not quite at a 1-to-1 yet. The stop loss was a $250 stop loss. We're up 160 so far. Now we're up 190. All right, we're up 250 right here. 220, I guess, on that candle. Close enough, close enough. Just took 50% profit. Let's see where it goes from here. Looks like we might be getting stopped out of this. Very, very close to getting stopped out. Let's give it the maximum amount of breathing room before going into the red. All right, and we get stopped out at break even, but that's okay. We secured 50% profits. We did not take a loss. We didn't have massive winning positions like some of those other ones, but when the momentum goes against you, you don't want to be in that trade anyways. If you're gonna try and force the market to like give you a home run winning trade by not exiting the position, that's when the biggest losses are going to occur. So again, back out here on the daily time frame, and we're just going to go ahead and wait for that next inside bar. A lot of momentum to the upside. We came down into our support levels. Clearly we're bullish here, so looks like we're finally seeing some strong buying pressure come in. And sometimes you will have to wait a little while for the inside bar, but when you watch a good amount of different stocks all at the same time, you will have 2 or 3 good ones to choose from almost every day, and sometimes more than that. Sometimes you'll have like 7 or 8 different setups to choose from. Okay, here we go. We've got a double inside bar right here. Clearly the market is bullish. We're looking to play this to the upside, or we're looking for a liquidity sweep of the lower level here. Lots of consolidation days in here. The spring is still coiling. Looks like some news maybe. 7 a.m. news happened right there. Still inside the range though. Another consolidation day potentially. Another day of consolidation. This is crazy. Let's look at this. Look at how many days. It's a lot right there. This strategy also seems like it works good because it'll keep you out of like choppy garbage like we're seeing right now. I mean, just nothing is happening. You don't want to be trading this anyways. All right, it looks like we swept out the bottom and we're getting a strong reaction right now. Breaking above these highs here. A little bit of a pullback, but it is late in the day. All right, we're back to this level, sort of retesting and breaking back upwards. Let's see some other time frames of this. This is a potential setup, I think. I don't love that we've got these bearish fair value gaps here. So most likely my position would have to be something like this. Stops below here. Go break even right here as we're pulling back into this bearish gap, and then try to secure as much as possible. All right, we're gonna go ahead and enter this. All right, it just went to the next day. Realistically, we would have closed out the majority of the position here before the day ended. So let's close out most of it. All right, we've only got a little bit of the position. It's already up $100. So let's go ahead and move the stops to break even. We're up 130 now. We're gonna close half right here. And it looks like I'm just it looks like I'm long-term investing right now, but let's see, we entered here on a Monday and it's only Tuesday. All right, now it's Wednesday. So if you had weekly contracts, it'd be up pretty good right now. And we're up another $100 here. Let's go ahead and partially close. Let's take 17, so like half of that. Looks like we might get stopped out. This is a Thursday. All right, and Friday tanks and we get stopped out. So that is why we've got the stop loss before our trade goes negative. So with good risk management like this, these are the results that you can expect. Let me show you what those look like here. We have a 90% win rate with a 15x profit factor. That is insane. And then we made $1,472, which this profit number is just going to be like a multiple of your account size, right? The bigger your account, the bigger you can trade with. So this number could be 14,000 if your account was large. It could be $147 if your account was small. But this is what profitable trading should look like. You're holding your winning trades for a longer amount of time. You're cutting losses very quickly. You're moving stop losses to break even pretty quickly. And you're taking partial profits and leaving runners so that the majority of your trades will close out green. So that is going to be it for this backtesting session. Hit like and hit subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.